It really looked like it was gliding. I could not reasonably hear anything from where the airplane was.
Right.
But I didn't hear. I mean, if a plane was in serious distress, if there was a loud noise going on outside my window, I could certainly have detected it, and I didn't detect any audio that I thought was out of the ordinary.
Right.
I mean, it almost looked like it was an intentional landing on a body of water.
Right. Now, you didn't see any smoke coming from the engines or anything like that either, you said?
I saw no smoke. I saw nothing breaking off the plane. I saw a perfectly intact, well-guided aircraft land on the Hudson River.
How close, now I'm hearing that this was taking off out of LaGuardia. How close are you to the airport itself?
I don't know. I mean, I'm in Midtown Manhattan.
Right.
LaGuardia is probably a 45-minute car ride from where I am. LaGuardia, obviously not being on Manhattan.
Right. Okay, that's great information, because I'm thinking, Suhanna, that again, they may have had either a full engine failure in both of these or a partial engine failure.
Ben, what were you thinking when you saw this? I mean, I don't know if you were working at your computer terminal or on the phone or something like that, but you probably just went, what the heck?
Yeah, I happened to be getting up from my desk and glanced out the window, and I saw a plane, and usually I don't see aircraft from this view. I mean, I'm right on the Hudson River, and to my knowledge, aircraft aren't flying over the river. So I followed it with my eyes, and, at first you have trouble judging the distance, but then it appeared that it was actually over the water. And then when it hit the water, to be quite honest, I wasn't sure that it was even an emergency. And then I talked to someone at another news organization. They thought it might be a movie shoot before it was confirmed, that it was an emergency.
Only in New York would you think that. Of course, with nothing on fire or in flames or anything like that, but it could have been, couldn't it?
Yeah. That's the expression. Anything in New York, unfortunately. But but it was just a gradual contact with the water that the plane made, and I thought, maybe there's something wrong, and fortunately there was.
Ben, I just want to leave you with this last piece of news, and this will make your day. All the passengers on that plane, we're hearing, have been removed safely.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So isn't that great news?
That is great. I mean, the pilot should really be commended from someone who saw the landing.
Absolutely. Ben Von Klemper joining us from the 25th floor in Manhattan, and an eyewitness to this. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us. You have a great day.
Thank you. You as well.
Okay. So back to our plane, which is a good news story, and thank goodness for that. So often you work in this business and you cover stories like this, and your heart is in your throat, knowing that there could be an ending that is tragic, that is causing tears somewhere with some family. I can tell you that what we're hearing here is that there were 164 passengers or so on that plane, about 5 crew members, and they have all been taken off the plane safely. So you saw some of those yellow life jackets on the wings of the plane. They got out when that plane landed. It was called a sort of a textbook splash landing into the Hudson River. The plane was floating there. That plane was leaving LaGuardia. It was on takeoff when it apparently hit these birds, and that, as I say, is what the FAA is investigating. Nick Cernkovich, who was here with me in studio, was talking about those birds being ingested into the engines and therefore causing the power shortage or the outage, which stopped those engines. But the pilots, probably heroes to those passengers who were on that plane, and certainly no doubt of that, brought that plane down softly, smoothly. The eyewitness said he saw it gradually land in the water of the Hudson, and all of those passengers have now been taken off the plane and rescued. So rescue crews, there were New York Police Department divers who dove in to also go and open the doors on that plane, because if you've ever sat beside those doors, you know that they give you information about how to open them, but getting the information and doing it are two different things, right? There were several ferries and other water taxis surrounded that plane, which appeared to be there to rescue people and obviously to, offer any aid they could. It's not immediately clear at this point that I can tell you whether there are any injuries, but I can tell you that all those people, the information that I'm hearing is that all of those people on board that U.S. Airways Flight 1549 from LaGuardia to Douglas Airport in Charlotte, North Carolina, have been rescued. Nick, I'm going to ask you if you have any, final words on this story as you watch this plane continue to sort of gently, I think they're trying to pull it in closer to Manhattan.
Yeah, the only thing I can say, and I have to agree with Ben, I mean, any landing on the water that you survive, that you come out of, is a textbook landing at the end of the day. Amazing stuff. And, it's amazing to think that one of these large airplanes, you can actually glide them. You may remember the Air Transat flight that had landed glided in some years ago into the Azores.
Yes.
You can actually glide these airplanes, and you know, of course, it's the theory and putting it into practice are two different things, especially when you have only seconds to think about it. The only thing I can really say, Shannon, knowing what we know now, is I really commend these pilots for their ability to get this airplane down. I mean, that's a pretty big feat.
Absolutely. There were 5 crew members on board. I would assume that would be a pilot and a co-pilot and 3 flight attendants.
Yes, I would think so.
And, you know, so they certainly would be heroes to the 164 passengers on board that Airbus 320. And there was some information that I wanted to pass on to you. And, oh yeah, if you're familiar with New York, this is near 48th Street in Midtown Manhattan. So at the Hudson and 48th Street is where this plane slid, I suppose would be the word to use, as splashed. We heard from the eyewitness, Ben telling us when he was sitting up in his 25th floor of a high-rise there in Manhattan that he saw this plane gradually, he said, angle into the water, and with a splash of about 20 to 30 feet of water into the air. So looks like we've covered this story from beginning to end. We took it when we first got the pictures of this plane floating in the Hudson with people in yellow life vests looking to be rescued out on the wings of that Flight 1549 U.S. Airways. And we've taken it now to the end of this story, where we know that everybody has been taken off that plane safely. I can't tell you about injuries because I don't have that information, but you can just see the tail of that plane sticking up there in the Hudson, and some of the boats that are still surrounding it, probably just to, you know, keep a locator on what has happened in this event. Those passengers, though, they've got a story to tell, and they would have been taken obviously to land and warmed up, and they're calling their family and friends, if they haven't already, to say, you might have been watching this breaking news on television, on CBC television, but I'm okay. So that's good to know. You're watching CBC News Today. I'm Suhana Marchand. We're going to continue in just a moment.